DRC now, as the country waits with bated breath for results of the crucial vote. Aime Zonveni, the editor for the Kinshasa Times, joins us now from the line from Lubumbashi. A very good evening to you, Aime. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you can hear me now. As the vote accounting process is in progress, do you think the government is justified for having shut down the internet there, or there is more to it?
Well, there hasn't been any official position indicating that the shutdown was actually commissioned by the government, but it is believed that it is due to the various reports, especially related to the vote, some indicating that the opposition, either of the opposition camp has won, and contemplating what is to be fake news. On the other end, this started creating some turmoil and dissensions. That is why the government has thought it to be safe to shut down the internet eventually up until when the results are officially announced on Sunday.
Now, the election monitors from the SADC and the AU Observer Mission gave the elections the thumbs up. So what's your overall analysis of the entire process?
The entire process in terms of security has happened without very many glitches. It is true that in this morning, the SADC Observer Mission and other missions from the African Union and from the Eastern African region have said that the elections have happened without any major incidents, and that the electronic voting machines have functioned without any problem. So they recommended that the Electoral Commission should just announce the results and make sure that these results are reflective of the truth, of the reality. But from my observation in Lubumbashi and my reports from other cities, the only problems that people were faced with was that they could not find their names. Some could not find their names on the registers, and the voting machines were having some problems. But overall, this was a very peaceful election.
And about the issue of the plus minus 1.2 million Congolese who were not able to vote as a result of cancellation of the elections in different parts of the DRC, what happens to those?
Those cities that were sidelined, I will not get you very well. Are you talking about the cities that were not included into the vote of Sunday?
Yes, precisely.
Those cities will be voting in the month of March. Even though they have tried, especially in Beni and Butembo, they have tried to organize a mock election just to stretch the government that preventing them from voting now was not justified because they were able to organize a vote. So for them, the vote will hopefully be happening in March. But in the interim, the president-elect will be inaugurated with final results on the 18th of January.
Now, Aime, the government refused accreditation to members of the European Union and the US-based Carter Center, which, of course, remember, it reported widespread irregularities in the 2011 elections. And we do understand, actually, we've been getting reports that Radio France International saying that the government had actually revoked the accreditation of one of its journalists and cut off that station's broadcast. What does that mean? What does it tell you about the government's aim to be transparent in the whole election process?
Well, I think it will be very difficult to judge based on, you're talking more specifically about Radio France International. There are reports of accreditation as you talked today, I am told, because the French broadcasting radio started giving tendencies, trends, indicating that maybe the opposition has emerged victorious, which can only be announced by the Electoral Commission on Sunday. That's why the government say that media should no longer be operating in the DRC for this period. But there are other international media, for instance, the British Broadcasting Corporation that's still here. And also tomorrow, the government has invited all international media to a meeting, I think, to tell them that they should wait for the Electoral Commission to announce the candidate that has won the elections on Sunday. So it will be difficult to really make a full judgment on that one single incident as to non-transparency of the whole process in terms of media coverage.
Well, as the vote counting is still in progress, but the ruling party and the opposition are both claiming victory, what is there perhaps a hint that they are basing their claims from?
Well, and as you were speaking very widely, the three main contenders were invited to a meeting this evening, which just got completed, where they were invited to sign an act of commitment whereby any losing party will have to accept the final result. So each of these three parties are claiming that they have won this election, and that, to me, could pave the way to some sort of tension after the announcement of the results on Sunday. But I think immediately following the announcement of results, I think each camp has another 10 days to lodge any complaints they have with the court in order to try and dispute the electoral results up until the 15th, when the final results will be announced.
Indeed, I mean, the ruling party has been in power for a very long time. Should they lose this election, well, for argument's sake, do you see them conceding loss?
The fact is, I think any of the three parties that will be losing these elections will definitely be disputing the results. That is my take. Whether it is the opposition or it is the regime, I think any party that loses this battle will dispute the results on the basis of maybe rigging or on the basis of inappropriate tabulation of results. So, to me, I think after the results are announced, we will be in for maybe a period of electoral disputes. That might be violent, but I hope that it will not really spiral into a full-scale violence, because I hope people will be able to file their disputes through the legal channels that are available.
And when should we expect the announcement of the election results?
The provisional results for the presidential elections will be announced on the 6th, which is next Sunday. And then thereafter, immediately, will be following 10 days of electoral disputes. And any party that feels that they were not treated fairly will have to file their dispute and lodge their complaints with the court. And after the 10 days, on the 15th, the final results will be announced, and the president-elect will be inaugurated on the 18th of January.
And what's the general feeling or the general mood of those who've been excluded from voting, particularly in Beni?
In Beni, people were quite very unhappy because this is part of the country that has been suffering many violence for many years now. And to them, the elections was the opportunity for them to very openly express their discontent and try and have their voice heard. But unfortunately, they say that they were robbed of that opportunity, because when they vote in March, they will not be voting for a president, because the final result and the president will be inaugurated in January, while they will be casting their ballots in March. So to them, it is a missed opportunity to express in a very vocal manner their voices on how their part of the country is managed.
All right, Aime, thank you so much for your update. That was Aime Zonveni, the editor of the Kinshasa Times.